Greetings, what is up, and a very warm welcome to the channel. The sun is hiding and the magpie is casting. Coming to you guys right now with a live 1 versus 1 battle featuring spawning in the south. It is going to be the Overcommand West pieces of PFC. And spawning in the north, it is going to be the American forces of VonAsten. So two very capable high-end players here, going to be fighting it out on Crossing in the Woods for our entertainment and hopefully education. Let's take a quick look at the commanders that these two players have. Actually, you know what? Before any of that, let's just get straight to the most important bit. I actually finally have a new mouse. No, it's not here with me now, but it should be with me within a week. I'm really excited to have a better mouse. This is probably the most money I've spent on a mouse, which is never a strict indicator of quality, but it is exciting. This is a well-built mouse with a couple of extra features, a couple of extra buttons, but still quite a simple, streamlined mouse. I'm looking forward to it, and I'm also hoping that it's going to solve the sort of like, I don't know what you would call it, sort of erratic sort of jiggles that this mouse seems to be giving me. It seems to only happen when I hold the middle mouse on this mouse as well, which is kind of really annoying because that's the button I have to hold down to move the camera. I suppose I could have rebound it actually. That would have been smart. How has this only just occurred to me? Okay, well, anyway. Looks like VonAsten is going to go straight ahead and choose the heavy cav doctrine. He knows what he likes and he likes what he knows. That's going to be heavy cav. So yeah, just a fantastic commander. Pretty much all of the abilities except for combined arms, which I never see used, are really useful and super relevant. It just brings a lot to the table, does this commander. VonAsten going to go straight for it. Let's see, PFC rolling with the Panzer Elite Doctrine. He's also rolling with the Luftwaffe Ground Forces Doctrine and the Emplacements or Defensive, the Fortifications Doctrine. There we go. So this is actually a fine map for the Fortifications Doctrine. Oftentimes we've seen a Pak-43 be able to dominate when it's built anywhere near the center of this map, because this is quite a small map. The Pak-43 has long range and, of course, like redonkulous hitting power. So yeah, great map for the Fortifications Doctrine. Not one of my favourite commanders, if I'm honest. I find this guy really boring. Just doesn't... I like to play with a more dynamic, aggressive sort of playstyle, and this guy does nothing for me. But I am always interested to see players use it, and this is one of those maps that does lend itself quite well to that commander. So we'll see what PFC decides that he needs as we move forward. This is also a fine map for the Panzer Elite Doctrine. And yeah, actually just an okay map as well for the Luftwaffe Ground Forces Doctrine. So could go for any of those. Looks like he's going to wait for now until he has a better idea of what it is that he wants. American forces going to be pushing forward here. They are in negative cover. Volks Grenadiers in a nice position here. Going to force them back for now. Another squad of riflemen here, so it's 3 total. Basically nothing out of the ordinary for either of these two players. Both going for pretty stable builds. Neither of them taking any build order associated risks here in the early game. So we're going to see Riflemen versus Volks Grenadiers, as we're so familiar with. Looks like he's going to go even for a 4th squad of Volks Grenadiers. Another fight going on down here in south. Looks like rear F probably going to be displaced by Volks down there. Storm Pioneers coming in at a fantastic angle, chewing a ton of damage onto these Riflemen. But the focus fire is good from the American player. Looks like he wants to get the Storm Pioneers out of there. It's not going to happen though. He's going to have to give way. This is just too much axis on the dance floor. And taking a nice fight here is PFC. VonAsten's forces in disarray. That is most of his army now falling back, which gives a bubble of time here for PFC to move out and get some capping done. And that he does need to do. He's fallen just slightly behind in terms of map possession, so this is a nice opportunity for him to redress that. Going to be putting down some sandbags in a good position here so that he can hold the bridge nicely. As you can see, VonAsten's already done that on his half of the central VP there. Looks like it's going to be the fairly standard Lieutenant Tech here. Going to give him access to the 50 cal, to the Stuart, and to the utility car. All amazing options, and it is, of course, no coincidence that we see Lieutenant picked more times than not here by American players. It's just the more exciting tech, in my opinion, unless you've got something super special planned. Volks Grenadiers here probably going to be on the losing end of this battle. How have they not lost a model? There we go. I mean, they would have been, but that's some pretty lucky rolling there. Wow, yeah, PFC going to get super lucky. More Volks going to come in. That's going to seal the deal. So nicely done there. Meanwhile, it looks like the Lieutenant going to push back some Volks over here. Schwervermacht Schlepper on the field now. So we're going to see a tech choice from PFC. And, I mean, probably has to be mechanized. Oh, I don't know. Hang on now. It looks like he's moving out onto the map, so this could be a battle gripper opening. I'm always more excited for battle gripper openings than I am for mechanized openings. Mechanized opening is definitely probably better, like, most of the time, which is why we see it most of the time. But battle gripper opening is more exciting. Okay, it's just a forward mechanized regiment. There we go. So, nothing too thrilling there. But, I mean, this is a great map for a Panzer II. It's a great map for a Puma as well. It's very open, allowing those fast units to traverse the map and leverage their advantages pretty much constantly. So, yeah, just a fine map. this is even one of those maps where if you're feeling super confident, you can go for a relatively early Puma and just try and vet it up throughout the game, because this is one of those maps where a Puma can and will just police basically anything short of heavy armor pretty hard. There's very little in the way of line of sight blocking terrain for those tanks to hide behind when the Puma is trying to pick them down. Utility car is the tech of choice off of the Lieutenant here, all fairly standard so far. It's going to come out here and help get these Storm Pioneers out of here. That will be a fallback from the Storm Pioneers, you have to think. Looks like they're going to stay and trade for a bit more damage. They really want to push these rear Esh out of here, but they're not going to be able to get that done. OKW forces resurgent on the map right now. PFC dominating most of the engagements, and the map control reflects that. You can see he had for quite a little stretch of time there double fuel. He's looking to secure double muni. He has a triple cap. He's already opened up an 80 ticket difference, so as ever in Company of Heroes 2, just being able to hold slightly more than half of the map gives you a massive advantage, and we're seeing that. American forces, very angry, going to come swarming on out of the base, shoving OKW forces out of this area of the map. Panzer II going to be the choice to deal with these very strong American units. Of course, the Panzer II will also be effective against the utility car as well. Still no choice of commander here out of PFC, but that's fine. Oh, there's some pretty early STGs coming up on these Volks. I guess PFC has had a relatively luxurious amounts of munitions income. Oh wow, this mouse. I am so glad that the replacement's coming soon. Alright, so the Panzer II is going to be here momentarily. There's PFC. No, okay, sorry, I thought he might have taken another fuel choice. But anyway, massive fight going on here. Nice concave by the American forces. But I don't think it's going to be enough. There's just a lot of Axis units here, and they are all in decent cover. Panzer II going to join the fight here. Wow, that is so much DPS. That Lieutenant squad, even on fallback, being cut down. Panzer II just marauding through the countryside here. The American units will get out safely. Wow, but the Panzer II wants to come in for a piece of the action. Wow, he just knows that there's nothing to do with this. He might be able to just get the ambulance. That seems like a nice pickup. Okay, there is a Zook on the utility car squad. Okay, he's not going to get the ambulance. But that's still some nice veterancy onto this Panzer II, which can now start kiting. He doesn't want to expose it to another Zook. Okay, he's going to expose it to another Zook. Wow, he really wants the Rifleman squad? There's just nothing here to deal with this Panzer II at this stage in the game, so this is really rough for the American player. This Rifleman squad, no, you want to micro it into your base. That is a squad wipe. The damn Krauts just wasted some of our riflemen. Yeah, that's actually what happened. Wow. What a rough opening. USF seems to really struggle with, like, light tanks. Basically any rapid vehicle choice, because what are their options to counter? You either go for a captain and have an anti-tank gun, which basically no one does.
Capture point is being overrun.
I mean, the Stuart is always going to be slower. We do see the Stuart coming, and it is going to be able to cover the American player against this Panzer II moving forwards, but there's just a window of time where light vehicles can really exploit USF players. Those are mines, aren't they? Yeah, that's some mines. Nicely done there. That's going to force these Volks back. But look at the map. That tells the story. Literally not a single resource point connected right now for VonAsten. Firmly under the heel of the Axis jackboot right now. Stuart's going to help a lot, though. Stuart's going to help a lot, but there's already a Kettenwerfer on the field. Oh, PFC playing this one out really nicely. So yeah, this game far from over, but 155, 157 tickets now, the lead for PFC. And his field dominance not in any danger of being seriously challenged anytime soon. American forces just now beginning to fan out and get back on the map. He's probably going to have to replace that squad of riflemen who he lost as well. Unless he just saves for Rangers. 350 though. That is a lot to save for. I wouldn't hate going for Rangers right now, but it's such a risk. You do need field control. Okay, he's going to go for a 50 cal. This is also fine. How much does the 50 cal cost? 280, okay. Okay, so the Stuart, how has this thing taken damage already? Oh man, it must have just run straight into the Kettenwerfer. Not the end of the world, he's going to be able to repair it here, but I mean, this is not conducive to getting the amount of field control that he desperately needs. This is a huge lead to be opening up at such an early time for PFC. He's gone ahead and chosen his commander. It's going to be the Panzer Elite Doctrine. He's also getting a Puma. So the Panzer Elite Doctrine, I mean, it's going to give him access to the Storm Tiger if he wants it later on. I'm struggling to see exactly what prompted him to pick it at this timing. Maybe he just wants access to the vehicle crew repairs. How much do they cost nowadays anyway? 35 munitions just like enables them to repair critical damage, and I believe some HP as well. Yeah.
Americans are making a push.
So, okay, yeah, the Puma's a sweet choice. I mean, there's already a lot of targets. He's got the Stuart, which the Puma will totally dominate. He's got the utility car, which is somewhere... It's just been parked up somewhere because the crew are out on the field just trying to do some capping. You can hear those grease guns chugging away. So, okay, here's the utility car. It must be being crewed by rear Esh right now. It is, yeah. That's a smart choice because you know your opponent has a Panzer II. So anyway, we've got a classic wind-up toys build here. Panzer II into early Puma. Nice stuff. And as long as you keep these guys alive, you know, it's a potent combo. You've got the heavy anti-infantry capabilities of the Panzer II combined with the basically sort of sniper-like anti-vehicle qualities of the Puma. Rifle grenade gonna connect here with the Puma, with the Panzer II, breaking its engine. That's frustrating, but far from the end of the world, and there's nothing really here to capitalize. Combat over here in the west looks like a 50 cal, has some storm pioneers in its rear arc. That's a little frustrating, a little bit like my mouse, which is just completely going berserk. Fighting going on in pretty much every side of the map right now, but PFC just able to maintain his dominance over the 3 points. And this one could be a quick one. Okay, that's a squad wipe on some Volks. This is the kind of thing that PFC needs to pick up. Nicely done there. Instantly, we're going to see MG34 going to come down to replace them. But, I mean, look at the map. Let's crack the tack. We can take it in here. This is just a dire scenario. Captain Tech. You know what, I think I really like this. You're never really going to be able to profitably save up for Major Tech in any way that makes any sense against an OKW player who's had this kind of luxurious opening. So the Captain Tech is a much more immediate, sort of short-term kind of thing. It gives you access to some choices that you really need, most notably, and coming up immediately, the M1 anti-tank gun. So that's a really smart choice when you see that your opponent is invested in a lot of relatively squishy and expensive early game light vehicles. The Puma and the Panzer II, of course, going to make great targets for the M1 anti-tank gun. And this is the kind of thing that might actually enable the American player to move out and get the field control he so desperately needs right now. Finding himself nearly down at half VP is 260 under 500. It's a dire time right now for him. Where's the M1? Okay, it is here. It's in this fight. And already it's going to start pushing back the Axis vehicles. So that's lovely. The Stuart, though, on death's door. The Puma comes forward and gets the KO blow. Oh no, that's brutal for VonAsten. He definitely did not want to lose that Stuart there. That's horrendous times. And just a rough game right now. A really rough game for VonAsten. PFC putting together an absolute theatre of horrors here. Okay, another rifle grenade comes down. Where's the M1 anti-tank gun? It's pushing up, but it's not going to be here in time. Whoa, this Puma taking a bit of a risk, though. The AT gun is back here. It has these units in arc, but there are just no shots being made. Unfortunately, this line of sight blocker proving troublesome. Whoa, STG Volk's going to get up on top of the M1. Uh-oh. Oh, no, there's nothing here to support. That's probably a lost anti-tank gun. Oh, no. That is just the last thing you wanted to happen as the USF player. He actually manages to connect the fuel in west. You can see on the minimap. So that's like one thing that is like definitely going VonAsten's way. But wow, this has just not been the kind of opening you want to see as the Allied player here. He finally gets some boots onto mid. Hopefully that can stem the bleeding for a moment. 50 cal going to be in position here. I wouldn't hate him putting that in the building, but it looks like he's going to move it out anyway. Credit where credit's due, though. VonAsten's staying in this one. I think some players may even have left because this is super dire, but I mean, he's fought his way back to a reasonable position at last. He has a multitude of connected points. He has, even despite having lost a couple of squads and the Stuart, he's actually in an okay place composition-wise. Like, this is a fine American army. Obviously, PSC holding more cards here has a lead. But VonAsten has definitely brought this one back pretty much as best as you can. Like, losing the Stuart was super unfortunate. If he hadn't lost the Stuart, this would even be, like, pretty okay. But he's definitely all right. Here comes the M1 anti-tank gun though. Gets a great shot onto that Puma. Sorry, onto that Panzer II. Going to force that one back. Volks with STGs do want to get up on top of this, but there's a BAR toting captain in support. Rifleman coming around for the concave. That's going to force the German forces back. And VonAsten here taking a nice fight. Basically going to secure himself the east of the map. And that's what he needs to do. Finally, he gets boost onto another VP. Ah, no. But PFC has Volks claiming mid, so the bleeding isn't going to stop anytime soon. Unless VonAsten can push those Volks away. Looks like the utility car is going to try to do just that. But they're in heavy cover. There's, you're not going to stop them capping. Oh, quick, we need somebody to be capping this. Every victory point is going to be crucial here. Already down at 200. Or, sorry, under 200 for VonAsten. Looks like the Puma are going to get super ballsy. Going to come on in here for a poke. Probably looking for the ambulance. Not going to find it. But, I mean, these are the kind of pokes that clever players make just to try and get a little bit of extra value out of their units. And crush an already downed opponent. If VonAsten could just get a moment here, the trouble is the late game is going to be so brutal for him. When you're trailing by this many victory points, you're obligated to take so many subpar engagements that you'd rather be able to walk away from or wait to take a better engagement. But when you trail by this much, PFC has secured himself probably a really nice late game here. American forces do grab the VP over here in the east, but he's still bleeding out. M1 anti-tank gun getting a bit unlucky here, hitting this intervening obstacle. There's a lot of Volks here. The Panzer II feels brave enough to come in for a dive. Utility guy going to transition across. Oh, there's Puma 2 on death's door, but he gets behind the AT gun. 3 stars of veterancy on that unit. We've got combat going on in mid as well. Units are being wiped. I'm going to keep the action here because it's where the majority of the expensive units are, but this is actually just a massacre now. He's going to try for a squad wipe on these Volks. That's really nice. He's trying for it, but he's just not going to get it. He's just not going to get it. Captain has to fall back. I believe a rifleman squad was lost in there. So are we up to 250 kills now? Okay. I mean, he's taking these fights. He's going to grab mid, so for the first time in a long time, VonAsten out from under the clock. Storm Pioneers in a forward position going to catch out on him a 50 cal. This is just so rough. Is that 50 cal being manned by vehicle crew? Love it. Well, the Schwerpanzer HQ is finished, and PFC has nearly got Panzer IV fuel, if that's what he wants. But, I mean, he kind of has a Puma and a Panzer II, which combined pretty much provide most of the utility that a Panzer IV provides anyway. So he could save for a more diverse choice here, and I wouldn't mind that. If he can just keep saving fuel, if he feels comfortable enough to do so, going for a Storm Tiger, or even a Panther, or just like any other choice is fine, I think. American forces even beginning to punch through onto the southern side of the map here. This Puma is actually not going to be enough to deal with them, although it is going to try and harvest some veterancy off of this lieutenant. 3-star Panzer II is getting pretty scary though. This Puma trading out for quite a long time though, taking Zook after Zook. I hope PFC is paying attention here. He's going to need to pop smoke and get this one out of there. Actually, he has no muni for smoke. So okay, he gets it out of there just in the nick of time. Panzer II and various Axis forces marauding in the west of the map. Meanwhile, an American offensive going down in east. So these players, they're multitasking, being stretched right now. Desperately trying to stay out from under the clock here is VonAsten, hemorrhaging just a few more tickets here. Oh no, he's going to hemorrhage his lieutenant as well. That's just not going to get out of there. This Panzer II will get him. Oh my god, he's rolling so lucky. He gets so lucky, that lieutenant. That is the luckiest lieutenant. Okay, so VonAsten gets out from under the clock, has some units capping this VP, crucially once again. This is essentially, in terms of forces, an even battle right now. Until PFC spends this fuel, these armies are basically at parity. So that's actually fine for VonAsten. Just damn, he's at 152 under 492, and we're barely at the 20-minute mark in this game, which means if this game does go to the kind of length that you expect a game of Company of Heroes 2 to go to, he's going to be obligated to take some horrible fights later on. American forces going to try and displace this position. M1 anti-tank gun in a smart position. The Panzer II is going to flank here into the east. Finds a squishy MG team, gets its 4th star of veterancy. How many kills on this thing? 14. being pretty brutal. Puma chipping in for damage against the utility car. That's going to go down unless he gets it away. He pops smoke on the utility car. M1 anti-tank gun going to reposition to deal with the Panzer II, which is chunking away some more American units. And it's going to be a Panzer IV. That's going to be the fuel choice here from PFC. I mean, that's a safe choice, if a boring one. It's fine, though. It is probably the best choice. It's so effective against infantry. I just feel like PFC had quite a luxurious advantage there, where he could have just waited for another unit, but I guess he just doesn't want the two armies to be on equal footing. He'd much rather have the advantage as soon as possible. That does make sense, so he's going to go for this Panzer IV, and it's going to be absolutely dominant, I think. This is just such a rough game for VonAsten. He's just been staggered at the very start of the game and just unable to properly regain his footing here. So here comes the Panzer IV. No munitions for a pintle mount available just now, but it'll still be devastating, you have to think.
Point is being overrun. A capture point is under attack.
Second M1 anti-tank gun makes a lot of sense here, and I do like that out of VonAsten. I think it's crucial that he recognised that he was so far behind that he had to go for a captain and have access to these choices. Alright, here comes the Panzer IV. Ah, that's some pretty... I like the camo on this one. Look at that one. I'm not sure I've seen this skin before. Really cool. That's the sound of the Panzer II just committing more atrocities here. I mean, there's not a lot to say about this. It's a pretty ugly picture for the American player. Where's the other M1 anti-tank gun? Okay, he does get the Panzer II. There we go, because it is in a nice position. Okay. That Panzer II a little overexposed, but he gets one of the anti-tank guns in that exchange. So this Panzer IV now pretty much has free run of the field. And losing the Panzer II, I mean, you never want to lose that unit, especially with that amount of veterancy on it, but you're not actually really losing any utility or functionality out of your army, because the Panzer IV pretty much does everything the Panzer II did, only heavier and better. So that's kind of okay. Wow, actually going to get tagged by an anti-vehicle rifle grenade here. There is an M1 in the hood, so this Panzer IV has to be a little bit careful. He's going to give away some value and some veterancy onto that anti-tank gun. Never quite where you want to be with that Panzer IV, but it's okay. Wow, actually, yeah, getting another hit onto it from the M1. If he can reman this gun... Oh no, it's been stolen. Oh dear.
Our supply line just got cut off.
I think that was the 3/4 ton ambulance. No, it was the utility car. Yeah. Getting picked off by the Puma. So some trade-outs happening here. But being able to salvage an M1 anti-tank gun is pretty gnarly here. VonAsten really up against it. Down at 136 right now. Pardon me, under the 461 of his opponent. And this might just be one of those games where an advantage is gained and never yielded. And, you know, in RTS, as in life, when you're ahead, it's much easier to get more ahead. And when you're behind, it's much harder to address that problem. And VonAsten is an incredibly skilled player. We've seen him do great things here on the channel. But this is a tough one. He finds himself in a very rough position, firmly the underdog in this game. In fact, we're getting to the point where PFC actually has enough fuel to make another choice. Actually, you know what? VonAsten has been stacking fuel hard. He doesn't have major tech, which I do believe that you need, yeah, in order to call in the Pershing. Oh no, he just lost his ambulance. The Puma just coming in for a cheeky little poke. We've seen PFC try that a couple of times, and he finally finds his mark there. Volksgrenadiers pinned down here. Actually, VonAsten with the double cut right now, so he's not actually under the clock right now. Oh dear, he's having a really hard time. He just has like the one M1. Okay, finally he gets another M1, but he's having to deal with a Panzer IV and a Puma with just one M1 and like random Zooks on infantry. It's a tough time as an American player, that is. Gonna connect his fuel. Has two VPs, so VonAsten is, for the time being, doing what needs to be done. He is maintaining his position in this game right now. Against pretty overwhelming and very bleak odds. just watch PFC apply his units as he sees fit for maximum efficiency here. Mine's in a nice place. Going to blow up some Storm Pioneers. That's always good. 4 stars of veterans on those Storm Pioneers. They have mown down a lot of Yanks. Oh no, the captain gets caught out by just an insanely good Panzer IV shot. Did that kill 4 models? Jeez. Oh my god, that's so unfortunate. He uses combat blitz to get out of there. Looks like there was an M1 in the hood there, chipping in for some value, but Panzer IV gonna get away for now, having murdered the American officer. There is even a BAR down on the ground up there. Okay, so American forces going to be grabbing west, Axis forces grab mid and east. VonAsten, let's check the tech here. Okay, he's activating his battalion command post, so the major tech is going to be here momentarily, and that will enable him, if he wants, to call in the Pershing when he eventually gets the resources together. But he's been so hard pressed, taking losses that he cannot afford not to replace. So he's low on manpower. He doesn't quite have the fuel he needs to call in that Pershing either. So he could go for another choice in the meantime. Let's have a think. A Jackson would be okay. And what else could he call in? I mean, he could call in a Sherman, which would... Actually, a Sherman would just be terrible. You're just going to get picked down by this Puma and the Panzer IV. It would be so bad. So I feel like you probably have to save for the Pershing here. Oh no, and this looks like we might have the beginnings of a triple cap here. This could be the beginning of the end for VonAsten. He's going to get some infantry onto west. Oh, he needs to do this so quickly. Sorry, onto east. He needs to do this, like, immediately. Looks like he's going to opt to send his rifleman up to grab the BAR. Put the machine gun here to grab the victory point. Here comes a Panzer IV, though.
A capture point is under attack.
Oh, this is such a bleak game for VonAsten. My heart goes out to him. He's really playing really hard, but it's so hard to come back from a start like he had. So the anti-tank guns will push the Panzer away. The Puma comes in at a nice angle, just going to harass for damage here. Pop some smoke, going to get out of there because in response to the anti-tank guns repositioning or turning. The Major gets onto mid and decaps it, so VonAsten out from under the clock. Nicely done. How much? 230 fuel, 600 man. So he needs about 2 minutes of saving to get a chance at a Pershing. Whoa, that's going to be a kill on a Volt squad. That's a 4-star Volt squad. Okay, if you start wiping your opponent's core infantry, you can really buy your way back into this game, so that's nice. Loses the anti-tank gun, but that's not the end of the world. Breaks the engine on the Panzer IV. Looks like the M1 probably going to get one more shot. That is a low Panzer IV. Oh, it's going to get out of there without another shot from the anti-tank gun, so lucky stuff there for PFC. Saves the Panzer IV. Whoa, another Zoop finding its mark. This Panzer IV on death's door now. 2 stars of veterancy on that thing is nice. Looks like these vehicle crew really want to try for the final shot. The engine is so broken. There it comes, and he gets the Panzer IV. Okay, VonAsten, nice work. Nice work. Obersoldaten going to be coming out here for PFC, who's also stacking a huge amount of fuel. He's even gone for the battle group at HQ, so you have to think he's probably angling for a King Tiger here. I mean, he has gone for every single truck. Wow, a King Tiger with the high explosive anti-tank shells. Seems good. 85 tickets remaining right now for VonAsten, and he may start losing some more here momentarily. Does have some riflemen grabbing mid, that's crucial, at least one thing going his way, but he has no units in west, he has no units in east, he has a Puma camping for value on the doorstep of his base, and information, let's be honest. PFC free to take pretty much all of mid and the east of map. God, this is so rough. VonAsten has basically the fuel he needs for a Pershing. I mean, and he's close on the manpower. He is going to get his chance at a Pershing in this game, probably. It's just, is it going to arrive in time to actually do enough? I don't know. I don't think so. Obersoldaten are on the line now. Where are they right now? Yep, they're taking some shots. No MG34 coming up on them, actually. PFC running low on munitions. How much does that thing cost? 80. Wow. I mean, it is incredibly powerful on that squad, so it does make some sense.
We're getting the hell beat out of us. We got 70
Okay, VonAsten manages to grab West.
The enemy is overrunning one of our capture points.
That's a Pershing.
Crew ready.
Alright. This probably represents the peak of strength for the American forces in this game. Wow, immediately Gibbs 3 Obersoldat, and you can't ask for a better opening for a Pershing in a game. Oh, he gets the squad! VonAsten! What a way to announce the presence of a Pershing on the field. Nice. Jeez, that Pershing's so dangerous. Alright, so how much does a King Tiger cost then? Oh, do you build it out of the Schwerpanzer HQ these days? Oh, where do you build it from? Oh, is it just like a call-in button that OKW have? Yeah, okay. Oh, so I can't actually see how much a King Tiger costs these days. But however much it costs, you have to imagine PFC does have what he needs for it. Yep, there we go. So here comes the King Tiger. And looks like we're going to have a late game involving a Pershing and a King Tiger and an American player who is down about 380 tickets. That's a rough position to be in, isn't it? He isn't under the clock right now. He grabs 2 of the VPs. He did just wipe out some Obersoldat, and I mean, composition-wise, army-wise, this game is essentially even. Look at the units in the top left, look at the units in the top right. This is definitely a doable game for either player. It's just the victory point situation that's going to oblige VonAsten. Basically, if he ever loses possession of the middle of the map, he is in danger of being shoved out of this game. So he is just obliged to take some terrible fights here, and it's going to be so bad. The King Tiger just fearlessly muscles its way over the bridge in mid. This AT gun, dealing with a Puma right now, that's not what it wants to be doing though. The King Tiger is just going to decimate the crew on that one. That's actually not what decimate means. He's going to destroy the crew on that one. And that it does. The engine gets broken on the King Tiger. The Pershing's here to chip in for value, but I mean, like, oh, actually, you know what? There's another AT gun here. And a bit of smoke going to come down just to prevent the King Tiger from firing. Loses both anti-tank guns. And King Tiger being an absolute brute. But I mean, that's what it's designed to do. And you know what? The Puma is actually a great choice against the Pershing. The Pershing basically has the gun of a heavy tank with the maneuverability and armor really of a medium tank. Which means that the Puma is absolutely fine for chipping away at that one. A Puma on 3 stars, indeed, is actually going to be able to keep that Pershing in check. And actually the Pershing feeds veterancy so quickly onto that Puma. It's hard to think of a juicier, more veterancy-rich target for the Axis light scout vehicle. So, okay, the King Tiger gets forced back, but he has the double cap. VonAsten under the clock once again, 60 tickets only remaining. Is he going to be able to pull this one out? I don't know, VonAsten. He's put up such a heroic fight, but some fights you cannot win. But you know what, that's just fine. A large amount of RTS, well, not a large amount, but like there's definitely a certain part of RTS where like your mentality as a player is basically like, I am beaten, I am basically only playing to give my opponent an opportunity to make a mistake and let me back in the game. Like there are a lot of times that you find yourself playing, not just RTS, like I play a lot of Magic the Gathering and chess and things like that, and there are times when you're just like, okay, I mean, if my opponent plays perfectly from here on out, there is like, I am on a 0% here. But if I play in a certain way, I can give my opponent an opportunity to make a mistake. And, you know, it's always worth seeing if they're going to do that. And yeah, VonAsten, there's also the other argument. Because, like, giving your opponent the opportunity, okay, he's going to GG. Wow, poor VonAsten. I mean, yeah, there was just no way back in this game, was there? And he knows it. He knows he can't really get field control back, so that's why he GG's there, because he's down at 47. He's going to get shoved out on tickets. Man, what a rough game for VonAsten. It feels like he was just put behind in the early game, and then just PFC masterfully able to maintain that edge pretty much the whole game. There was a ray of hope or two for VonAsten in this game, as he did wipe out some core infantry. He did kill the Obersoldaten very quickly. He was able to pick off the Panzer II and the Panzer IV. So not completely ineffective here, the tactics of VonAsten. And, you know, despite having such a brutal opening game and having to take such terrible fights and being so cripplingly stressed by the Axis forces this game, VonAsten was still able to find himself alive in the late game with a decent army composition, and he basically did everything he could to, like, have a chance in this game. So my hat goes off to him. Some games of Company of Heroes 2 are just absolutely sort of crushing, very like harrowing experiences. Like any RTS, like there are some games where you just get behind early and you still play for like another 20 minutes or half an hour, all of which you're playing from behind, just hoping to have a look to get back to parity in the game, and it never translates, and that can be quite harrowing. But you know what? That's the nature of RTS. It's the nature of pretty much any game, to be honest. Any zero-sum game, at least. And in this instance, VonAsten's efforts are not going to be rewarded. PFC going to crush his way to a victory in this game. Nice to see another King Tiger on the channel. That thing, obviously, an absolute brute, and testament to just how far ahead PFC was in this game, that he felt comfortable enough that he could just save up for the big cat and take the win. So, yeah, I believe that concludes this video. Thank you very much for watching. And this for now, Magpie842 signing out.